morning, everyone. Welcome to this regular meeting of the El Paso MPO. Today is March 22nd, 2019. It is 9:03 p.m. This session is now in order. We can please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And we have open comment. Yes, Mr. Rooney. All right. All right. Any other speakers? All right. So that puts us back at action items on discussion and action. Item 1, approve the minutes for February 22nd, 2019. I have a motion on the floor to approve the minutes. Is there a second?
Second.
The motion has been seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. The minutes for February 22nd, 2019 have been approved. Item number 2, approve amendments to legal services contract for Kemp Smith LLP. I'll defer to staff on this item.
Okay, Scott Foster, popular demand. There was a little bit of a snafu. And two things have happened. One, on the procurement side through the city of El Paso, I did not realize, nor did anyone else, that we had a deadline to meet on the process that we were in, and that deadline expired the day before our last meeting. So our approval of the contract under that procurement process was null and void. Also, the attorneys at Kemp Smith, for Kemp Smith, looked at the contract and said, well, there's some things that we've talked about. We want to make sure they're spelled out in the contract. And so they offered some edits. Those edits don't really change anything substantive, but they just outline some of the things that we did talk about. After a discussion that went back and forth between Human Resources at the City of El Paso, their legal department, and our office, it was decided that we could move forward and hire Kemp Smith, but that we would not do it under the procurement process. Since they are an attorney, and subsequently this board is entitled to the attorney of its choice. And so everything had been negotiated and prepared, so we deleted any references in the agreement to the procurement process and have proceeded forward under basically the way the City of El Paso hires its outside legal counsel. And don't ask me why we did it the other way. I don't know. I'm not a human resources attorney, but that's what we have here. So this is there's two items here. Actually, the next one is to approve an extension for me, and that is a fail-safe in case something goes wrong, and it's not. So it's one or the other. And I would recommend approval of the agreement. Are there any questions? Yes, sir.
I guess I'm looking at item number 3, and I guess we can't speak on item number 3, but how does the contract change for you between the MPO and you?
It just at the hourly rate, and like I say, if you approve the agreement with Kemp Smith, we can table indefinitely item number 3. So it's an either or, not a both.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other discussion?
Anything else?
Seeing none at this moment, I would take a motion to approve item number 2.
So moved.
I have a motion on the floor. The motion has been seconded by Alderman Miller. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Item number 3. So at this point, then we can delete item number 3 from the agenda. So we don't entertain a motion to delete item number 3. I have a motion on the floor to delete item number 3. Is there a second?
Second.
The motion has been seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. Abstention? Motion carries unanimously. Item 3 has been deleted. Item number 4, appoint congestion management process committee members. For this particular committee, we were supposed to appoint a group of individuals to work on the congestion mitigation plan, but these individuals that I'm going to recommend for appointment today will be following up with that process. I'm recommending Mayor Margot to be the chair, Norma Palacios to be the vice chair, and Mr. Bob Bielik to sit on that board. If there are no objections, I would entertain a motion to approve those 3 individuals for the CMP committee. I have a motion on the floor. Is there a second? The motion has been seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. Abstentions. Motion carries unanimously. Mayor Margot will be the chair. Norma Palacios, vice chair. Mr. Bob Bielik will sit on the CMP committee. All right. Item number 5.
Point of clarification.
Yes, sir.
On this congestion management process committee, can you talk a little bit more detail about the responsibilities for this committee?
And I'll have Don explain a little bit more about it.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Roger Williams, Interim Executive Director here at the El Paso MPO. Roles and responsibilities for the committee will first and foremost be to define the criteria for inclusion on CMP monitoring network and review and recommend the CMP network. It'll also be to review and recommend CMP goals, objectives, and multimodal performance measures for the use of the CMP. Identify data sources, applicability, and requirements for the CMP development. Identify specific locations with congestion problems, and identify the source of those problems. Develop a toolbox of solutions, identification and assessment of appropriate congestion mitigation strategies. And,
Our ports of entry as well.
excuse me,
Also include ports of entry as well.
your
Ports of.
Does it include the ports of entry as well?
yes, it includes looking at the ports of entry. Yes, it does. Yes, sir.
Okay.
And those are the roles and responsibilities. We'll be getting with the CMP committee. The kickoff meeting will be in May of, and we're hoping to have early May, May the 2nd. We'll coordinate that with the committee. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, could I ask a question?
Yes, sir, go ahead.
My understanding is we've had this committee, but it's been basically dormant and non-functioning, is that right?
That's correct.
The committee has not been active since 2013.
So. Okay.
Any other questions?
If I might comment there
Go ahead.
on a related subject. There's 2 other standing committees that this body has, neither of which has been particularly active. We also have the Finance Committee and the Suburban Mobility Committee. Perhaps that we should allow the Executive Committee to look at these when we look at the bylaw rewrites to see if they're actually necessary or what we, I think the Finance Committee is required with that.
It is required by policy.
Is required.
By
But the
bylaws.
the Suburban Mobility Committee was something that we haven't used in years.
That's
I
correct.
remember when we created it, and it really hadn't met much, so,
There's also a transit coordination committee that hasn't been active.
the transit coordination. So we might look at, the Executive Committee might look at those to see if they're necessary.
Yes, sir.
All right, going to item number 5, if you can read that one first, Marisol.
Item number 5, amend into the Destino 2045 Metropolitan Transportation Plan and the Destino 2019-2022 Transportation Improvement Program to amend the New Mexico 404 Phase C/D and Phase 2 Fiscal Year 2019 project, MPO ID M644X/CNE100200, to add $50,000 of border state infrastructure funds to the already existing $9,080 SBSI funds for a total of $1,480,000 $480,000 in fiscal year 2019.
Good morning. Greg McNichol with the chairman of the TPAC. This is pretty straightforward, an item that New Mexico is requesting to adding additional funds for the project. Any questions? It's a pretty straightforward project is all.
Any questions by the board? Seeing none, at this moment, I entertain a motion to approve item number 5. So I have a motion. Is there a second? Okay, go ahead.
I don't know if it was me or I heard 50,000 instead of 500,000. Just to make sure. Okay.
It's 500.
No, I know, but I heard 50,000. I was just trying to clarify it was 500,000.
Yeah, and I think that's, I too may have heard that too, so I think it's 500,000, it's 980,000 that they're there for a total of 1,480,000.
Make a motion to approve.
I do have a motion. There's a second. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. Abstentions. Motion carries unanimously. Item number 5 has been approved. Item number 6, project readiness report for March 2019.
Again, this is a report that comes first to the TPAC board. This is a dynamic report. I'm gonna start by telling you this one. Is because that in the course of what we presented to you today is what was approved by the TPAC committee for your recommendation. There is additional information that's been received since then on 3 projects that changed their status. And so I'm gonna point those out to you. They're not listed in here again because what we presented to you was what we approved. But we do have amendments, if you will, because this is a very dynamic report. So if it's okay, I'm gonna go ahead and point those out to you. Let's see, the first one is under the City of El Paso's bike connectivity infrastructure improvements in fiscal year 2019. So I'm gonna find that page for you. It's right behind the, yeah, it's actually right at the front, okay? This one was given a low alert, but MPO staff has received additional information, and there was additional information presented at the meeting indicating that the project is currently at 75%. So that now removes the yellow flag on this project. Okay. The second one that needs some correction is the Chamazal Neighborhood Pedestrian Enhancement Phase 1. This is another City of El Paso project. There was some reference of, there was some concern that gave it a low alert because there was not enough information concerning utilities, and there is no utility work to take place, and so that now, we have learned that, so that too takes the yellow, low alert off. And so both these projects are fine. And the last one is a TxDOT project. CBD 4, fiscal year 2020, MPO flagged with a low alert due to the environmental document being at 0%, and coordination between the streetcar and Border Highway West needing to be done. Again, after speaking with Roger, actually, and you may have additional information on this one.
Yes, sir. This is actually a City of El Paso project, but it's closely coordinated with TxDOT
sorry.
as it relates to the Border Highway West project. And one of the reasons we were flagging it was because that coordination effort didn't seem to be lining up. We've since found out that it does indeed line up. The 2 projects are being coordinated together. So the recommendation is to remove the alert from that project.
Otherwise, the report presented to you with these 3 changes are all what we recommend to your approval.
Discussion on the item?
I just have a question also on possible market. Is my understanding that maybe might be removed as a low alert because TxDOT was gonna work with this approach FHWA regarding having that on behalf, because it's a DSA property?
This coordination is ongoing. The MPO has contacted FHWA. TxDOT is involved in that communication as well. We have yet to hear from Federal Highway, and the question is if we can build the project with federal funds, with part of the project being on GSA property. So we're still trying to get the answer to that.
So you leave it as low alert?
At this point, it's still a low alert.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry? yeah, they're gonna leave it until they hear back, I guess, is what you're saying. The question is because I know that city staff have provided to, because of the fact it's the use of federal funds on GSA property. That was why it was placed on low alert, but city staff have provided 2 examples, I believe, in terms of where that's been done. And so it's just reaching out to FHWA to see if
And
that's allowed.
that information on those 2 projects has been forwarded to FHWA.
Any other questions? Seeing none, at this moment, I entertain a motion to approve. Item number 6. I have a motion on the floor to approve. Is there a second? Motion has been seconded. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Item number 6 has been approved. Item number 7, Executive Director's Report.
So the first thing on the Executive Director's Report leads right into or comes right in from the previous item. Some of the projects that are in the Project Readiness Report, but not all of them, are looking at this issue. And the MPO wants to develop a completion report that will look at specifically the 2020 network. And it's an analysis year and the travel demand model. So this is important because there's projects that go back to the Horizon MTP, and there's projects in the Destino. And it's very important that I say that this table that's in front of you is just an estimate right now. We really need to dig in and make sure that we've captured all the projects. But we are identifying City of El Paso, County of El Paso, Doña Ana County, and TxDOT that has projects that are in the 2020 network. What is important here is that added capacity projects, whether it's adding additional lanes or it's building a new facility, has to be open to the public by December the 31st of 2020. And it's getting really tight. We have a few projects there that what we're going to do is coordinate with the entities and get schedules, and we'll be coming back to report to the policy board where we're at with these projects. So the projects, if they're not open to the public, impacts conformity, and it will require potentially an amendment to the conformity document. It has the potential of slowing down the federal funding, the environmental approvals, and project delivery. So being that we're a little over a year and a half out and some of these projects are just starting to be built, it's real important that we keep an eye on these. So we'll be coordinating with the implementing agencies and report back to the policy board on the status of these projects. And if you don't have any questions on that, I can move to the next item. As it relates to conformity, we have a conformity issue ongoing, and that's the conformity for the newly designated Sunland Park, New Mexico non-attainment area. As you remember, the policy board approved the conformity report in January of this year, and on the 28th of January, we submitted that report to the Federal Highway Administration along with our federal and state partners. The FHWA Texas Division made their initial comments in February 28th, and MPO staff responded to that by developing a report that showed the changes that had resulted to the model and the necessary addition of a 2017 base year, and there was items in the TDM that needed to be cleaned up. And FHWA looked at that and had some questions, and we responded to their comments on March the 5th and have not received any comments back from FHWA yet. What is important to remember as it relates to this conformity is that it has to be done by August the 3rd of 2019. And it has the impact of putting us into a conformity lapse if we do not have conformity by that time. So we're still coordinating the effort with our federal partners, and we'll keep you up to date. Yes, ma'am.
Are there any other steps that need to be taken once you receive a response?
Once we receive an approval for conformity, that will be all we need to continue to move forward. We'll have the New Mexico portion of our area found for the new ozone area to be conforming for ozone.
Thank you.
And just to give us a sense of, I know it's tight, but is 5 months, what does the FHWA say? Is that reasonable for them to?
They have indicated that it was a reasonable amount of time. This conformity doesn't involve an amendment to the MTP or to the TIP. Although, I will say, because we are having to look at the modeling, that has the potential of slowing things down. So their comments this last round was more looking at what had changed in the model. No projects have changed because we didn't make any amendments to our plans. But because they're looking at the model, that does take time. We have a little over 4 months left right now. We gave it to them with 6 months. And we gave it to them with 6 months because we knew that that would hopefully at least be enough time. It usually takes at least 6 months for that kind of thing to be determined. But again, it doesn't involve an amendment to the plan and the TIP, so it should go smoothly.
Thank you.
Anything else?
That's my report. Thank you, sir.
Fantastic. All right, I guess that concludes our agenda for today. The next TPB meeting is going to be on April 26th. Thank you all very much. At this moment, yes, sir.
Just as an item of information, one of the categories of funding that does not go through this board is Category 1, which is our maintenance funding. And there are going to be 2 projects starting this summer that will have a significant impact in the metropolitan area, and I wanted to alert everybody on this board of those projects because they haven't gone through the normal process here. One is Mesa. We're going to be reconstructing Mesa from Baltimore or Glory Road in that area to Sunland Park. And this is going to be a complete reconstruction. And your face is appropriate. It is going to be a very, very difficult project. And we're going to be working with all the businesses to try to keep that open. At the same time, we are going to be milling and inlaying Trans Mountain, essentially from the museums to where the entrance is to the state park. Now, that's a mill and inlay. It'll be a little quicker, a little less disruptive, but there will be a fairly significant period of time where we'll have 1 lane in each direction on Trans Mountain. You can figure during that same time, we're going to have 1 lane in each direction on Mesa. The good news is that the GO 10 project, all the driving surfaces should be finished in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So I just wanted to alert everyone to that. It is going to be a significant impact, and blame it on me.
There you go. Thank you for the update. Way to win the meeting. There's a question up there?
So in terms of the reconstruction on Mesa, you're saying you're doing it around the sort of university corridor, where around Baltimore, Glory Road. What are you going to be doing in terms of lighting for pedestrian safety in that area, which is deficient as per your own lighting study?
Yeah, we have just finished the lighting study in that area, and we're going to be changing out a lot of those luminaires to LED luminaires, higher intensity luminaires. I think Jennifer sent you the details on that, but if
Well, we know
not,
that
we
the
will.
lighting was deficient in that area per your own studies, so we're
Yeah.
trying to, so if you're gonna be reconstructing it, it seems, I'm just trying to get clarification from my own constituents about what you're gonna be doing in addition to the reconstruction of that area, since you'll be ripping up those roads.
Right, well, we'll send you the details if Jennifer hasn't
So the
already.
lighting is gonna go concurrent
It's separately. It's a
Will it be
separate
going
deal.
at the same time, or when?
Probably during the same period.
Okay.
So then I wanted to share a lot of conversations, being that it's not advertised, but go ahead.
It's informational, that's okay.
Okay,
No actions can be taken on anything like
Okay.
this, okay?
go ahead.
Yes, I had a question. How long are we going to avoid taking North Mesa from Baltimore to Sunland Park? How long is the project going to take?
Probably 6 to 9 months.
Yikes. Whoa. All right.
Was consideration given to phasing, so that you would
Thank
see
you.
the mill and replace on Trans Mountain before commencing work on Mesa because of that's how either they go Mesa and I-10 or they detour to Trans Mountain. So if you do Trans Mountain at least before Mesa, at least then you wouldn't have congestion of both.
Well, we understand that. The reason they're being done at the same time is funding. I have the funds available. I won't have the funds available next year.
How long is the mill and replace gonna take them?
Mill and replace 4 to 5 months. It'll be a shorter period.
That's a Trans Mountain project.
Right. And what's gonna happen on Trans Mountain, just so you know, we're gonna do it in 3 segments. We'll do the probably eastbound first, and they'll be in 2-mile segments. So only those 2 miles will be shrunk down at any one time. So if you don't have an 18-wheeler going over, it won't slow you down too badly.
When do you think GO10's gonna be done again?
All the driving surfaces will be finished in the next 2 to 3 weeks. The only ones that won't be opened up, one of the Texas turnarounds at Mesa will probably be 3.5 to 4 weeks out. And the turnarounds at Sunland Park won't be open till about the end of April, and that's because of the decorative fencing, big manufacturer.
The Border West Expressway bypass, how long are we out for that?
Border West right now, we expect will be open the end of July.
The end of July. So it won't be open by the time you start with Mesa?
No, it will be open by the time we start with Mesa. Now, that depends on the Union Pacific Railroad. There's some legal issues with Union Pacific Railroad. The road will be finished at the end of July. Whether or not it can be opened there's still some legal issues there that we're struggling with.
Thank you. With that news, I am happy to entertain a motion to adjourn. I have a motion to adjourn. Is there a second? Motion has been seconded. All those in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries unanimously. 9:30 a.m.